A billboard the size of a house killed me, and the first thing I saw after death was a gray-haired man tearing a wolf in half. The wolf was mine, it was made of paper, and 300 students applauded as its two pieces fell at my feet. For one quiet second, I considered dying again. The memories of this body struck me. My name was Noah. I was 17, poor, alone, and taking my only chance to enter Arden Academy on a scholarship. Every candidate had to summon a beast across a silver line. Others called fire lions and crystal deer. My awakening gave me charcoal, paper, and the class called paper artist. I drew a wolf with spoon-shaped rear legs and uneven ears. It looked depressed, but its front paw moved. The examiner had torn it before it could cross the line. 0 points, the gray-haired man said. His name was Gavin. The senior examiner held up the pieces for the stands. The Academy tests summoners, not children who decorate paper. A drawing has no heart, no core, and no place in this arena. The laughter grew louder. Jace, the highest-ranked candidate, leaned against his bronze hound and grinned. The beast had metal ribs, a furnace chest, and far too many teeth. "Do not be cruel, Examiner Gavin," Jace called. "His paper puppy might give someone a splinter." 300 students laughed because the strongest boy expected them to. I picked up the pieces of the wolf. "The written rule says summon any creature and cross the line," I said. "It does not say the creature must have a core." The nearest rows went quiet. Gavin looked at me as if the paper had spoken. "Are you questioning my judgment?" "I am reading your rule." Gavin dropped the pieces and ground them beneath his heel. "Then read this judgment. Noah receives 0 points. His scholarship is cancelled. His room in the East Dormitory is revoked. His class rank is 500, the last place. If he wishes to remain at Arden, he may pay 30 silver coins by the end of the month." 30 silver coins was more than this body had seen in a year. The ranking crystal placed my name at the bottom beside a red 0. Students pointed and raised memory crystals. Public failure was free entertainment. I looked down at Gavin's boot. Under it, the charcoal eye of my wolf moved. It moved only once. No one else noticed. I smiled, which worried Gavin more than anger would have. "Take your garbage and leave," he said. "You are standing on it." The nearest students laughed before they could stop themselves. Gavin lifted his foot. Charcoal stained the polished sole. The examiner had defeated one sheet of paper, but the paper left the final mark. I walked out while the next candidate entered the arena. Only a short girl carrying a wooden case followed me. Lena had awakened the common threadbinder class and earned 41 points. She caught up beside the empty fountain. "Your wolf moved," she said. "Which part?" "The eye, before he tore it, then again under his shoe." "Perhaps it was afraid of his face." She laughed and almost dropped her case. She was the first person here to look at me without pity. "Where will you sleep?" she asked. "Somewhere that costs less than 30 silver coins." "That includes the street." "Good. I like a wide room." She led me behind the Western workshops, where white stone became old brick and golden statues became laundry poles. A crooked building stood at the end of the yard. The sign above its door read, "Arden Artistic Research Club." Someone had crossed out research and written, "storage." "The academy closed the club last winter," Lena said. "I keep the key because my binding tools are inside. There is a sofa. It only leaks when it rains." Thunder rolled across the clear sky. The sofa has excellent timing. Inside were 6 dusty tables, old sketchbooks, a stove, and poverty arranged on shelves. Lena opened her case of binding tools and cheap gray paper. "1 copper coin per sheet," she said. "It tears easily, hates water, and catches fire when someone thinks warmly near it." "Perfect." She gave me 10 sheets and ink. I promised to repay 11 copper coins. At sunset, Lena left for dorm registration. In my old life, I had drawn advertisements for a print shop until one of them fell on me. Now those skills were the only wealth I possessed. Now I placed a clean sheet on the table. A voice spoke inside my head. No glowing panel appeared. A calm voice said my failed awakening had met a hidden condition by creating a complete creature without a soul contract. 3 paths belonged to paper artist. The first was living illustrator. It valued detail, growth, and creatures that survived repeated battles. The second was creator of ink forms. It valued speed, simple bodies, and disposable swarms. The third was emperor of drawings. It valued armies, shared memory, and territories turned into living art. The last 2 were sealed. Living illustrator was my only available choice. I accepted it. The rule entered my mind. Any creature that I completely drew with my own hands could leave its page. Accuracy decided its strength. Mana decided how long it remained real. If the page was destroyed, the creature died forever. That was all. Other summoners needed blood contracts, rare eggs, and trained beasts. I needed paper and 4 legs on the correct side. The world had called that useless. The world was about to receive an expensive lesson. I had 30 mana. The sheet cost 1 copper coin and the ink 2. This time I worked for 1 hour and 23 minutes. I copied a skeleton and muscles from an old bestiary, then added paws, eyes, teeth, and fur. The shoulders stayed narrow, and the thick tail looked ready to steal dinner. Progress. When I closed the final line around its rear paw, the paper became warm. The voice told me that the drawing had 72% structural accuracy. Its estimated combat strength was 8. A normal untrained F-rank familiar had a strength of 5. The summoning cost was 12 mana. The maximum duration was 3 minutes. I touched the page. Black ink rose like smoke. It gathered beside the table and thickened into fur. 4 paws struck the wooden floor. A wolf stood in the candlelight, as large as a young dog and twice as alert. It looked at me with one ear still larger than the other. "Ash," I said. The wolf sneezed ink onto my shirt. "You are expensive already." Ash obeyed simple signals. A faint black line connected his chest to the page. Something scratched beneath the floor. Ash's head snapped down. The boards burst apart. A knife-tail rat as long as my arm came through. Its bladed tail cut a table leg. I had not known the club included live entertainment. The rat charged me. Ash hit it from the side. They rolled across the floor. The tail cut Ash's shoulder, spraying ink. His narrow body failed to hold the rat, which escaped beneath a table. 26 seconds had passed. 2 minutes and 34 remained. Ash caught his weak rear leg on a stool and fell. The rat turned toward his page. It had sensed the source. I pulled the sheet away before the blade struck. Ash rose behind it, attacked the rear leg, and used the rat's turn to expose its throat. His second bite ended the fight. With 1 minute and 11 seconds left, I called him back. His body flowed into the drawing. New lines formed a shoulder scar, thicker rear legs, and a stronger jaw. The page had remembered the battle. Ash's accuracy rose from 72 to 76%. His strength rose from 8 to 11. He learned one action from experience. Attack the weak leg before the throat. My 1 copper sheet had trained itself. The door opened. Lena entered with a covered bowl and saw the broken floor, dead rat, and ink on my shirt. "I was gone for 2 hours," she said. "The club gained a window. That is in the floor. The view is disappointing." She found a gray crystal beneath the rat's ribs. "A knife-tail core," she whispered. "The maintenance office pays 40 copper coins for these." I held up Ash's page. "The sheet cost 1. The ink cost 2. The profit is 37. Lena slowly looked from the page to me. "Summon him again." I spent 12 of my remaining 18 mana. Ash stepped out. Lena offered him roasted sausage instead of running. Ash swallowed it and licked her fingers. "He is warm," she said. "He is also eating our investment." He earned 1 piece. We ate thick potato soup with onion, pepper, and browned sausage. Lena toasted hard bread and rubbed it with garlic. After public laughter and a violent rat, it tasted like a feast. Ash rested his uneven head on Lena's knee until his 3 minutes ended. "Gavin was wrong," she said. "Yes." "You do not sound surprised." Gavin wore white shoes to an animal arena. His judgment was already questionable. She laughed again. That was when someone kicked open the club door. Jace entered with 4 students and his glowing bronze hound. More faces gathered outside to watch a poor student lose his room. Jace held a room assignment paper. "This building has been granted to the first-year combat club," he said. "Your dead club has until midnight to leave." Lena rose. "The storage permit lasts until winter. Only while the club has 3 registered members and 1 ranked achievement. You have 2 members and no achievements." Jace needed the building because his father only supported winning clubs. I understood his pressure, not his method. "We have an achievement," I said. I placed the knife-tail core on the table. Students leaned closer. Jace glanced at it. "You found a dead rat." "My drawing killed it." Lena witnessed the fight. "Then prove it." 1 registered duel. Your paper wolf against brass. If you win, I will pay 5 silver coins and withdraw my claim. If you lose, you leave tonight and apologize to Examiner Gavin in front of the morning assembly. 5 silver coins equaled 500 copper. Brass had a strength near 15 against Ash's 11, and one spark could destroy Ash's page forever. 60 students watched as a supervisor activated the official duel stone. Witnesses, rules, and payment were present. I nodded. Accepted. Rain began as we moved into the yard. The old sofa started leaking without us. Jace released Brass. The bronze hound cracked a paving stone and opened its furnace. Students stepped back. I held up one gray page. The crowd laughed. "He really brought paper into the rain," someone said. Lena held waxed binding cloth above Ash's page like a tiny roof. "The paper is dry," she said. The laughter changed direction. I summoned Ash. Ash emerged with a shoulder scar and heavier rear legs. The crowd went silent as Gavin's torn drawing growled at a bronze hound. The dual stone flashed. Brass charged like a refrigerator with anger problems. Ash waited. At the last instant, Ash moved left and attacked the rear joint using the lesson from the rat. His teeth found the gap behind the bronze knee. Brass stumbled. The crowd shouted. Jace ordered flame. Ash rolled beneath it. Fire burned a stripe across his fur but missed the protected page. 1 minute and 40 seconds remained. Ash attacked again. Metal screamed, and the rear leg locked. Jace lost his color. "Crush him!" Brass jumped. Ash ran forward, dropped flat beneath the jump, and bit through a control tube under the furnace chest. Orange vapor exploded from the hound. Brass spun in circles, struck Jace, and carried him into a trough of blue paint. The strongest candidate disappeared with a splash. 60 students roared. Jace rose blue from hair to boots. Brass released one sad puff of vapor beside him. They looked like a festival decoration with poor judgment. The dual stone declared Ash the winner. My class rank rose from 500 to 371. 5 silver coins transferred into my academy purse. The artistic club gained 1 ranked achievement. Its storage permit renewed automatically for 30 days. Power, money, and status had all moved before midnight. I recalled Ash with 9 seconds left. More lines appeared on his page. His chest became broader. The burned stripe remained across his back. His combat strength rose from 11 to 13. Jace climbed out of the paint. I expected a threat. Instead, he removed 5 silver coins from his purse and placed them in my hand. "I pay my wagers," he said through blue lips. "Good. This does not make us friends." "Also good. I cannot afford your laundry." The crowd laughed. Jace had lost publicly and honestly. He bowed as dual law required and left. By the time Lena and I returned inside, the academy message boards were already repeating the same sentence. The 0-point paper wolf had defeated the first-ranked bronze hound. Before midnight, every dormitory had seen the duel. My red 0 had become the academy's favorite mistake. Milo arrived carrying a pot. The broad cooking student had lost his room to the combat club and watched our duel. "I heard you need a third member," he said. "I need a stove." The club gained both. We spent 12 copper coins on minced beef, carrots, onions, and bread. Milo browned the meat in dark sauce. Lena repaired Ash's page. I paid my debt and bought 50 sheets. Rain tapped the roof. For the first time here, I had a full stomach, a dry page, and people beside me who did not care about my red 0. Someone hammered a notice onto the outer door. We went silent. The paper carried Gavin's gold seal. It declared my wolf an illegal artificial familiar. At sunrise, every drawing in the club would be seized for examination. Resistance would lead to expulsion. As I read the final line, Ash's repaired page moved inside my hand. The ink wolf turned his head toward the wall. On the old bricks behind the stove, a line of black ink had begun to crawl upward by itself. The line formed the back of a running animal. It had no head and no legs, only one curved stroke across 6 bricks. Ash stared at it from his page. When I brought him closer, his printed fur lifted as if a wind moved through it. Then the line sank into the wall. Lena scraped the brick with a binding knife. No mark remained. "Was that yours?" she asked. "No, I only draw animals with enough legs to complain about." Milo placed a lid over the stew. "Good. The building is haunted by art. That is better than rats. Ghosts eat less." We had no time to investigate. Sunrise arrived with Gavin, 12 academy guards, and 100 curious students packed into the yard. Gavin read his own seizure order aloud. He called Ash an unlicensed artificial familiar. He called the club unsafe. He called my victory over Jace an accident. Each time he spoke, more recording crystals rose above the crowd. I let him finish. Academy Rule 43 allows an unknown familiar to earn a license through the West Mine trial, I said. Gavin's eyes narrowed. You studied the rules overnight? The roof leaked on my bed. I needed something dry to read. Several guards coughed into their gloves. The West Mine trial required a summoner to enter an old crystal tunnel, defeat at least 3 pests, and return with proof. Observation crystals showed the entire attempt on the central board. A successful trial gave the familiar a temporary license. It also paid 4 silver coins for every usable pest core. Gavin could not seize a creature during a pending license test. You have until sunset, he said. Fail, and I will burn every page in this building. If I pass, you withdraw the order in front of the same witnesses. His jaw tightened. Jace stood near the back of the crowd. Most of the blue paint was gone, but his ears remained pale purple. He stepped forward before Gavin could refuse. The duel was registered, Jace said. If the wolf passes the trial, the result stands. Gavin looked at his best candidate with cold surprise. Jace did not look at me. He was protecting the value of his own loss. If Ash was illegal, then he had been beaten by garbage. If Ash earned a license, he had been beaten by a real opponent. Pride had found a useful direction. Gavin agreed. The guards left. The crowd ran toward the central board to reserve places for the trial broadcast. We had 10 hours. The club also owed 12 silver coins in registration fees by sunset. Passing without earning 7 cores would save Ash and still close our home. I counted our money. 4 silver coins and 77 copper coins remained after food, paper, and my debt to Lena. Ash had a combat strength of 13, but he could not search a dark mine alone. I needed eyes in the air. We went to the market beneath the academy library. Fine white paper cost 20 copper coins per sheet. Waterproof ink cost 1 silver coin per bottle. A basic book on bird anatomy cost 2 silver coins. I bought 1 sheet, 1 bottle, and rented the book for 50 copper coins. Milo watched our purse become thin. We now have 1 silver coin and 7 copper coins, he said. Then failure will be easy to calculate. That does not make me feel better. Back at the club, Lena prepared a narrow album. She stitched 2 guards of waxed leather around a cloth spine. Ash's page became the first leaf. The new white sheet became the second. I drew a raven. I spent 2 hours on the skeleton, wings, flight feathers, claws, and eyes. The final line closed around its beak shortly before noon. The drawing reached 83% structural accuracy. Its combat strength was only 6, but its vision strength was 21. It cost 9 mana to summon and could remain real for 6 minutes. I named it Jet. The raven stepped from the white page, landed on Milo's head, and stole a piece of dried meat from his pocket. Its vision is excellent, Milo said. Its morals need work. Jet flew around the room. Ash watched from his own page. When Jet landed on the table, a thin strand of ink ran through the stitched spine between them. Ash's drawn eye changed. For less than a second, it became a bird's round black eye. The voice in my mind explained nothing. It only confirmed that 2 living illustrations had shared one sensory memory. I summoned Ash. Jet flew behind him. Ash turned before the raven landed. Jet flew above a shelf. Ash looked up without hearing a sound. Their ink had touched through the album, and the pages were passing information. 1 wolf had strength. 1 raven had sight. Bound together, each possessed a small part of both. The album was not a second power. It was one drawing teaching another through the same living ink. Lena understood before I explained. If you add 10 pages, all 10 could learn from 1 battle. If the binding survives, she pulled the album against her chest, then I will make a binding that survives. For the first time, her common thread binder class did not sound common at all. The West Mine entrance stood below the northern arena. 200 students waited behind a barrier. More watched the central board across campus. Gavin stood beside the trial crystal with 3 instructors. He had selected Tunnel 9. Lena went pale when she saw the number. Tunnel 9 had been closed for a month after a crystal centipede injured 2 second-year students. Pest populations change, Gavin said. A licensed familiar must adapt. His reason sounded official. His smile did not. I could refuse and lose everything. I could enter and make his plan visible to every witness. I chose the better investment. The trial began. Milo and Lena remained behind the barrier. I entered with the album wrapped in waxed cloth. 5 observation crystals floated behind me. The mine smelled of wet stone and metal. Blue crystals in the walls gave enough light to see the first fork. 3 paths opened ahead. I summoned Jet for 9 mana. He flew down the center path. Through our connection, I felt direction, but did not see through his eyes. Ash did. His page trembled each time Jet turned. I summoned Ash for 12 mana. My total mana had grown from 30 to 34 after the duel. 13 remained. Ash sniffed the left tunnel, ignored it, and chose the center before I gave an order. The crowd watching outside made its first shocked sound. I heard it through the observation crystal, faint as distant thunder. Jet had seen claw marks above the left entrance. Ash had received the warning. We found 3 glass lizards in the next chamber. Their transparent skin reflected the blue light. They were weak alone, but their tongues fired crystal needles. Jet circled high. Every time a lizard aimed, he changed direction. Ash moved at the same instant. Needles struck empty ground. Ash attacked the first lizard's rear leg, his favorite solution to most problems. He broke it, turned, and used the wounded creature as cover. The second lizard fired. Its needle struck the first through the neck. The audience shouted. Ash crossed the chamber and killed the second. Jet dropped a loose crystal onto the third lizard's head. It looked up. Ash hit it from below. 3 cores rolled across the stone, 12 silver coins. The club debt was paid. I could have returned and passed. Then Jet screamed. His warning reached Ash through the album before it reached my ears. Ash jumped into me. We rolled aside as the ceiling split. A crystal centipede fell where I had been standing. It was longer than a wagon. Dozens of clear legs cut grooves in the floor. A cluster of red eyes moved beneath its armored head. The trial crystal identified it as a low D-rank pest with an estimated combat strength of 38. Ash had 13. Jet had 6. Outside, Gavin ordered the observers to keep recording. He did not stop the test. That told every witness what kind of man he was. The centipede struck. Ash pulled me away from its jaws. Jet pecked one red eye, but a crystal leg clipped his wing. Black feathers scattered. His remaining duration dropped by half. I had 11 minutes of combined life left in my creatures and 13 mana I could not use to heal paper. The beast's armor had no visible gap. Jet rose again. He circled the chamber once, seeing from above. That memory passed into the album, then into Ash. Ash stopped looking at the centipede. He looked at the ceiling. Blue crystal pillars hung above the chamber. One had cracked when the beast fell. I understood. Jet attacked the centipede's eyes. The beast raised its head and snapped at him. Ash ran between its legs, not toward the weak rear joints this time, but toward the cracked pillar. The centipede turned. Its armored body struck the base. A line spread through the crystal. Ash bit the same point. His teeth could not break the armor of a D-rank beast. They could break damaged stone. The pillar fell. The centipede tried to curl away. Jet saw the movement from above. Ash changed direction before the tail swept across the ground. The pillar struck the center of the beast and pinned 6 body segments. The audience's roar shook the sound crystal. The centipede still lived. Its front half dragged itself toward Ash. He waited beside a sharp crystal fragment. When the jaws opened, he moved. The beast drove its own mouth onto the broken point. The red eyes went dark. Its core was worth 16 silver coins. Our earnings reached 28 silver coins from a single trial. Ash returned to his page with 32 seconds remaining. Jet returned with only 4. New ink spread across both drawings. Jet's damaged wing gained thicker flight feathers. Ash's pupils became sharper. A tiny crystal shape appeared in the background of both pages. Jet's vision strength rose from 21 to 27. Ash's combat strength rose from 13 to 17. Each had learned the same action: use the battlefield as a weapon. When I left the mine, 200 students were waiting in silence. I placed 7 cores on the trial table. The crystal centipede's core was larger than Gavin's gold badge. The official board confirmed our result. The Artistic Club had earned 28 silver coins, first place in the monthly resource trial, and a valid familiar license. My rank rose from 371 to 214. The silence broke. Students crowded the barrier. They shouted Ash's name. They shouted Jet's name. Someone had already drawn a crude paper wolf on a banner. It looked worse than my first attempt, which was an achievement. The boards repeated our earnings, rank, and license until even students who missed the trial knew them. One cheap album had become the most discussed weapon in Arden. It mattered. Gavin stepped toward the trial table. Jet emerged from the album without a full summoning. Only his head and beak became real for 1 second. He picked up the temporary license, flew across the table, and dropped it onto Gavin's carefully arranged hair. The square of paper slid down his forehead and hung from his nose. 200 students laughed. The central board carried the image to thousands more. I did not laugh. I counted. After paying the 12 silver debt, the club held 16 silver coins from the trial, 1 silver coin and 7 copper coins from before, and materials worth almost 2 silver coins. Yesterday we had owned a broken sofa and a rat hole. Today we owned a licensed familiar, a registered result, and enough money to eat for a month. Gavin tore the license from his face. The wolf passed, he said. The seizure order is withdrawn. The observation crystal recorded every word. His public loss was complete. That afternoon, the maintenance office repaired the hole in our floor because licensed clubs qualified for basic service. Milo bought potatoes, eggs, green onions, and a small block of cheese. He grated the potatoes, mixed them with egg, and fried round cakes until the edges were brown and crisp. Lena made garlic broth. We ate at the long table while Ash and Jet rested as drawings inside their new album. Lena placed the club purse in front of me. "You should keep the reward," she said. "They were your creatures." "The paper was yours. The binding was yours. Milo kept us alive with food. The club keeps half. We divide the other half into materials, meals, and personal shares." Milo lifted a potato cake. "I support any financial system with a meal category." Lena's share was 4 silver coins. She stared at them for a long time. It was more than her monthly living allowance. "No one has ever paid me for binding a book," she said. "Then they were using the wrong books." She smiled and repaired Jet's wing with a brush so fine that I could barely see its hairs. At dusk, my mana reached 37. Ash's page warmed whenever the old black line moved behind the bricks. I planned to study it after dinner. 3 academy guards entered without knocking. They did not carry Gavin's withdrawn seizure order. They carried an emergency safety order signed by Hector, the head of the summoning faculty. The order named the album, not the creatures. It classified a book that could transfer memories as an unknown magical artifact. Academy law allowed such artifacts to be held for 1 night of inspection. The guards took the album from Lena's hands. I could have fought them. Ash and Jet were inside the book. 1 flame spell could kill both. 30 students watched from the yard, and the law was temporarily on Hector's side. So I memorized the guard captain's name, the route they took, and the exact time. "Where are you taking it?" I asked. "The faculty furnace room," he said. "Examiner Gavin will inspect it at midnight." The door closed behind them. On the club wall, the hidden ink line returned. This time it formed an open eye. The eye looked toward the furnace room. The 3rd day began at midnight. I did not follow the eye. A moving wall was suspicious. A moving wall that wanted me to break into a guarded building was more suspicious. I preferred plans that did not begin with trusting architecture. Lena searched the academy code while Milo packed cold potato cakes for the walk. She found the rule we needed. A living artifact could not be tested without its creator present. The owner had the right to bring 2 assistants and request a public safety witness. The rule had been written for intelligent swords. It did not say the intelligent object could not be a book containing an annoyed wolf. Jace agreed to serve as witness. "I am not helping you," he said when he met us outside the faculty tower. "Gavin used me to make your duel look invalid. I dislike being used." "That sounds like help wearing an expensive coat." "Say that again, and I will leave." "Thank you for staying." He walked faster. By midnight, 80 students had gathered outside the furnace room. Jace had mentioned the inspection to 1 friend. That friend had mentioned it to every message board in the academy. Public curiosity remained the fastest form of transport. Gavin opened the door and saw us. The album rested on an iron table behind him. A furnace burned 3 steps away. 2 faculty instructors stood beside a testing crystal. Neither looked pleased to have witnesses. "This is a closed inspection," Gavin said. Lena handed him a copy of the rule. He read it twice. Each reading made his face older. We entered. Gavin began with a mana scan. The crystal found no soul contract, no beast core, and no external spirit. He announced each result as if it proved the album was empty. Then Ash's page growled. The testing crystal jumped off the table. Students laughed through the open door. Gavin moved the album closer to the furnace. Heat curled the edge of the waxed cover. "A safe artifact must remain stable under environmental stress," he said. Lena stepped between him and the book. "You are testing paper with fire. That is not stress. That is burning. Move." "No." She was shorter than Gavin and had no combat class. She still made him stop. I took the album from the table. Ash and Jet were both alive, but the heat had darkened one corner of Jet's page. I felt his fear through the ink. "The mind trial licensed the familiar," I said. "Your withdrawn order is recorded. Return the book." Gavin looked past me at the witnesses. He could not win the law, so he changed the argument. "A creature that copies combat memories is a public danger. 1 accidental lesson could make it attack a student. Until it completes a live rescue under faculty supervision, the safety order remains." He expected me to refuse. Live rescue certification normally required a second-year rank. A bell began ringing above the tower. Not the hour bell, the emergency bell. A voice echoed through the academy stones. 12 first-year students had been trapped in the glasswood vault during a training expedition. A spore leak had caused their contracted familiars to panic. The western passage had collapsed. Rescue teams would need at least 1 hour to arrive. Every face turned toward Gavin. The timing was so perfect that even I felt embarrassed for him. "There is your live rescue," I said. 10 minutes later, we stood in the transport hall. The guild master approved my participation because the observation crystals from the mine showed Ash surviving a D-rank threat. Gavin came as faculty supervisor. Jace came with brass. Lena and Milo came as registered support staff. The rescue reward was 5 gold coins per living student. 12 survivors meant 60 gold coins. A death reduced the payment and triggered an investigation. Gavin warned everyone that my album would probably fail. The warning reached 4 public viewing boards before we entered the gate. I used the journey to add 2 pages. The first held a broad boar with heavy shoulders and a flat forehead. I worked from a preserved skeleton in the transport hall. The drawing reached 79% accuracy, cost 14 mana, and carried a combat strength of 15. The second held a small mole. It reached 81% accuracy. Its combat strength was 4, but it could feel vibrations through stone at a range of 60 steps. It cost 6 mana. Fine paper, waterproof ink, and Lena's emergency binding used 8 silver coins. We had invested almost half our liquid money before seeing the dungeon. Milo looked at the remaining purse. "If this fails, dinner is boiled water. Will you add salt? We cannot afford reckless luxury." The glasswood vault looked like a forest carved from green crystal. Transparent trunks rose beneath a stone ceiling. Pale moss covered the paths. The air held golden spores that made living familiars shake and snap at their handlers. Brass lasted 20 seconds. The bronze hound did not breathe, but the living fire spirit inside his furnace did. He ran backward into Jace, then tried to bite a tree. Jace recalled him before he damaged his own teeth. Gavin summoned a white wyvern worth more than our entire club building. It inhaled once, screamed, and wrapped both wings around its head. The students watching through the public boards saw the senior examiner dragging his expensive wyvern behind a crystal trunk while my paper raven flew calmly through the spores. Jet had no lungs. Neither did Ash, the boar, or the mole. Paper burned and tore. It did not become confused by pollen. The useless class had found another useful weakness. I summoned all 4 creatures. The cost used 41 mana. My maximum had risen to 46 after the mine. 5 remained. Better ink extended Ash and Jet to 8 minutes. The new pages would last 5. Jet rose above the crystal forest. The mole pressed its paws to the ground. Their memories flowed through the album. Ash began to lead. He turned before Jet called. He stopped when the mole felt movement beneath a bridge. The boar followed his tail. 4 different creatures moved like one body with too many opinions about legs. We found the first 3 students inside a cracked crystal shelter. A moss bear circled outside. Spores had driven its eyes red. It was D rank, heavier than the centipede, and strong enough to break the shelter in 6 strikes. It had already struck 5 times. Ash attacked its rear leg. The bear turned, expecting one wolf. The boar hit its front knee from the other side. The 6th strike missed the shelter. It hit the ground. Jet saw a cluster of loose crystal fruit above the bear. That image passed to Ash, then to the boar. The boar changed direction and struck the tree. Crystal fruit fell like stones. 2 shattered on the bear's back. The creature roared and charged the boar. The mole felt the charge through the earth. Ash received the warning. He bit the boar's paper tail and pulled him aside one instant before the bear crossed the path. The bear struck the cracked shelter. The wall broke outward, away from the students. Milo and Jace ran in and pulled them free. 3 survivors, 15 gold coins secured. The viewing boards repeated the count. Students in the Academy Plaza shouted each time a rescued person crossed the observation line. The bear rose again. 1 falling shard had cut the boar's page inside my album. A matching wound opened across his summoned side. If the tear reached the outline, he would die. Lena opened her case while we ran. She placed binding tissue over the cut and stitched the page with 3 movements. Her fingers shook, but the tears stopped. "How much did that repair cost?" I asked. 1 silver coin in material. "Bill the bear." The bear charged us through the trees. Jet guided it toward a narrow glass bridge. Ash and the boar crossed. The bear followed. The mole struck the bridge from below at the point where it had sensed an old fracture. The crystal split. The bear fell into a shallow ravine. It survived, but it could not climb the smooth walls before our summoning time ended. The public board declared the route clear. Gavin had contributed one frightened wyvern and several loud instructions from behind a tree. We moved deeper. The next 4 students were trapped under a collapsed arch. Their own familiars had fled. The boar pushed one side while Jace and Milo lifted the other. Ash crawled beneath the gap and pulled a student out by his coat. Jet found a safe path through the falling crystal. 7 survivors. 35 gold coins. The new boar's duration reached its final minute. He could have returned safely. Instead, the mole felt a second collapse above the last trapped boy. The warning passed through the album. The boar moved without my command. He placed his body beneath the arch. The stone fell. His summoned form burst into ink. Inside the album, the tear crossed his full outline. The page went white. The boy crawled free. 8 survivors. 1 creature lost forever. The rule did not forgive sacrifice. The boar had existed for less than an hour. He had learned from Ash and Jet, chosen to protect a stranger, and died as completely as any living familiar. No new line appeared on his blank page. Lena closed the album over it. "We finished the rescue," she said. Her voice was quiet and hard. We continued with 3 creatures. Jet found the remaining 4 students beyond the western collapse. The main passage was buried beneath 50 tons of crystal. Gavin ordered us to wait for the official team. The trapped students had 11 minutes of clean air left. The mole felt a hollow tunnel below us. It was too small for a person and too unstable to widen by force. I recalled Jet and Ash. Their remaining time returned to the album as faint stored ink. Then I placed a fresh gray sheet over the blank page where the boar had been. I drew from memory. Not another large creature. I drew a chain of small beetles, each with a flat shell and digging jaws. There were 24 of them. The anatomy was simple. My hand completed the page in 6 minutes. The drawing had 68% accuracy. Each beetle had almost no combat strength. Together they cost my last 5 mana and could live for 4 minutes. They left the page in a black stream. The mole guided them. The beetles carried loose earth backward. Jace used brass in short bursts to melt sharp crystal. Lena reinforced each weak section with binding thread. Milo crawled at the front and pushed bread through the first opening to the trapped students. "Rescue food," he called. "Do not review the presentation." The tunnel opened with 3 minutes of air remaining. All 4 students crawled out. 12 survivors, 60 gold coins. Every board in Arden Academy displayed the final count. The plaza erupted. Even through the dungeon crystal, I heard thousands of voices chanting the name of a class that had received 0 points 2 days earlier. Paper artist. The beetles returned to their page with 1 second left. Their jaws became wider in the drawing. The mole gained dark lines around its paws. Jet's eyes became clearer. Ash's shoulders finally corrected themselves. Ash's combat strength rose from 17 to 24. Jet's vision strength rose from 27 to 34. The mole's sensing range grew from 60 steps to 90. All surviving pages learned how to support a rescue before attacking an enemy. My maximum mana rose from 46 to 68. We returned to the academy at dawn. The 12 rescued students walked through the transport hall in front of their families, instructors, and hundreds of witnesses. The Guild Crystal awarded our club 60 gold coins and a silver rescue badge. My academy rank rose from 214 to 88. Gavin tried to leave before the safety hearing. The mother of one rescued boy blocked his path. "Your family company supplied the familiars that panicked," she said. The hall became quiet. The guildmaster opened the expedition record. All 12 failed familiars had come from Gavin Beast contracts. Their safety certificates carried Gavin's examiner seal. He had called my album dangerous because one shared lesson threatened a business that sold a new trained beast for every task. His motive was not madness, it was money. That made the numbers easy. His wyvern had cost 400 gold coins and saved no one. My entire album had cost less than 3 gold coins and saved 12. The central board placed both totals beside his face. No joke could improve it. Gavin's examiner badge was suspended pending investigation. His emergency order became void. The guildmaster returned the album to Lena in front of everyone. Ash pushed his head out of the page and growled at Gavin. Gavin stepped backward into the transport basin. It was only ankle deep, but the water had been used to wash green dungeon slime from equipment. He emerged with both white shoes glowing green. The hall laughed until the ceiling crystals shook. Gavin looked at me. "You think this ends with me?" "No," I said. "The shoes will probably glow for a week." He left without another word. That morning, we spent 10 gold coins on a new stove, dry roof tiles, reinforced cabinets, and enough fine paper for 100 drawings. We placed 5 gold coins in an emergency repair fund. We sent 1 gold coin to the family of the boar's rescued boy, asking them to use it for his recovery. Milo cooked garlic noodles with strips of glazed pork. The sauce was sweet, salty, and dark enough to shine. He fried green onions until they became crisp. Lena set a small empty frame above the stove and placed the boar's blank page inside it. No one spoke for a while. Then Ash emerged, sat beneath the frame, and lowered his head. Jet landed beside him. The mole pushed half its face from its page. They remembered. Lena sat next to me at the table. There was ink beneath her nails and a cut across one thumb from repairing the album. At the exam, everyone saw a bad drawing, she said. I saw it trying to stand. I wrapped her thumb with clean binding cloth. You were the first. I know. Her shoulder rested against mine while we ate. She did not move it away. For 1 warm hour, the club felt like a home. Then Hector arrived. The head of the summoning faculty wore no gold and brought no guards. He was a large man with a burned scar running from one ear to his collar. Students filled the yard behind him. The rescue story had made our door the busiest place in the academy. Hector looked at the framed blank page, then at the living album. There was no greed in his face. There was fear. 22 years ago, I watched an ink army kill 40 students, he said. The creatures learned from every attack. By sunrise, they knew every defense we had. He placed a black-edged decree on the table. Gavin abused his authority. I will answer for that. But your book is still forbidden under capital law. The artistic club will be dissolved at sunrise tomorrow. Every living page will be burned under my supervision. The students outside began shouting. Hector did not change his expression. Behind him, the walls of the entire yard darkened. Black lines spread across the bricks, the windows, and the roof. For one impossible moment, the club building lost its depth. It became a flat drawing beneath the morning sun. Hector turned and saw it. The scar on his face went white. It has recognized you, he whispered. The black lines faded after 7 seconds. Hector left to consult the records. At sunrise on the 4th day, he returned to a yard packed with witnesses. Hector took the club decree from the table and folded it once. The tournament begins tonight, he said. A club that wins an independent research charter cannot be dissolved by a faculty order. Reach the final 8, and capital law will protect your pages until an imperial inspector arrives. Fail, and I burn them at sunrise. Why offer a way out? Lena asked. Hector touched the scar on his face. Because the last ink army had no creator when I found it. It copied fear, pain, and killing until those were the only lessons it knew. Your creatures saved students. I need proof that the difference matters. He left the decree on our table. The tournament rules arrived 1 minute later. Hector had added a special restriction. Every summoner could bring 1 contract vessel into the arena. For most students, that meant 1 ring, 1 crystal, or 1 beast seal. For me, it meant 1 book. He thought the rule limited me. Lena looked at the shelves of empty paper. How many pages can you finish before tonight? That depends on how simple the creatures are. Milo placed our club purse on the table. After repairs and supplies, we still owned 48 gold coins, 11 silver coins, and 7 copper coins. How expensive can simple become? He asked. We found out. I bought 240 sheets of thin battle paper for 12 gold coins. It resisted water and ordinary sparks, but each sheet was only as wide as my hand. I spent 24 gold coins on 3 bottles of mana ink. The ink could hold 240 points of prepared mana, but it became useless after 1 day. The remaining materials cost 4 gold coins. Lena bought steel thread for the spine. Milo bought chicken, rice, ginger, butter, and honey because he refused to let an army be created on an empty stomach. 8 gold coins remained in our purse. We placed 240 sheets across every table. I did not draw heroes. Heroes required faces, muscles, armor joints, and dramatic hair. I drew small ink soldiers with round shields, short spears, 2 arms, 2 legs, and no unnecessary opinions. Each took about 2 minutes. The first had a combat strength of 2. The 10th still had 2. By the 50th, my lines became cleaner, and the strength reached 3. None could defeat even a weak familiar alone. They did not need to. Lena stitched each finished page into the same steel-threaded spine. The moment a page touched the album, a tiny crystal shape appeared behind the soldier. It received Ash's knowledge of weak legs, Jet's view from above, the mole's sense of movement, and the memory of the boar holding up the fallen arch. The soldiers began to change. Some gained wider shields. Some turned their spears backward to brace against a charge. One drew a small loaf of bread on its belt after receiving Milo's tunnel memory. Milo declared that soldier an officer. At midday, my hand cramped. Lena placed it in warm water, dried each finger, and wrapped my palm with soft cloth. 10 minutes, she said. We have 106 pages left. 9 minutes, if you stop arguing. Milo served bowls of ginger chicken over buttered rice. The meat had crisp skin and a sweet glaze. Hot broth soaked into the rice beneath it. He placed honey buns beside the ink bottles and threatened to strike anyone who dipped one into the wrong liquid. We ate while rain hit the repaired roof and stayed outside where it belonged. Lena checked the binding. Why are you calm? The numbers are clear. There are 500 entrants. The Academy champion has a gold lion. Hector plans to burn your friends if you lose. The building briefly became flat. Which number is comforting? 240. She looked at the growing book and smiled. That is a good number. I finished The Last Soldier 1 hour before the tournament. The completed volume was thicker than my head. Milo carried it in a cooking harness across his back. Lena had added a waxed cover and 4 locks. The prepared mana ink filled channels along the spine. My own mana had risen to 72. The reservoir held 240 more. Summoning every soldier would use the entire reservoir and keep them alive for 4 minutes. Ash, Jet, the mole, and the beetles would use my personal mana. 1 damaged spine could end everything. The tournament arena held 12,000 spectators. 5 public boards showed the matches to the city. Rumors of the rescue had filled every seat. Paper wolves hung from railings. Merchants sold blackbird masks. Someone sold blue wooden figures of Jace climbing out of a paint trough. Jace bought one. For evidence, he said. Of what? A future crime against the merchant. The first stage placed 500 students inside a stone field filled with towers, bridges, and shallow canals. A contestant earned 1 point for capturing a tower seal and 2 for forcing another contestant to surrender. The top 64 advanced. Hector inspected every contract vessel at the gate. When Milo placed our enormous book on the table, Hector checked the rules 3 times. 1 volume, I said. I can see that. You look disappointed. I look tired. It is a large book. For 1 moment the corner of his mouth moved. Then he sealed the volume as legal. The starting bell rang. Students released firecats, stone bulls, wind snakes, armored apes, and enough glowing birds to confuse the sky. I released Jet and the mole. Jet mapped the towers. The mole felt footsteps through the field. I avoided the strongest groups and captured 6 empty seals in 4 minutes. 3 noble students blocked the 7th tower with a fire lion, a frost bear, and a long green snake. They laughed when I approached carrying 1 closed book. Where is your army? One asked. Reading. I opened the first lock. 20 ink soldiers stepped from 20 pages. The laughter stopped. The soldiers formed 2 shield rows. The fire lion breathed. The front row knelt. The second braced behind them. Their paper shields blackened but held for 1 breath. Ash came through the center. He attacked the lion's rear leg. 10 soldiers hooked the frostbear's paws. Jet guided 5 more onto the snake from above. The noble students gave conflicting orders. Their 3 expensive familiars crashed into one another in the narrow gate. The snake tied itself around the bear. The lion landed in the canal. All 3 students surrendered while the crowd laughed. My score reached 12. The observation board moved my name from 492nd to 9th. I recalled the 20 soldiers before their pages burned. 6 returned with black scars. 4 gained longer hooks. Every other soldier in the volume received the memory. The next time I opened the book, 40 soldiers emerged already knowing the formation. They captured 3 towers without a command. My score reached 21. First place. The crowd stopped calling them weak drawings. It began calling them the Black Company. The final obstacle of the first stage was Jace. Brass stood repaired on the central bridge. New steel covered his rear joints. Jace had learned too. I need 2 points, he said. So do you. I already have 21. That was not the answer I wanted. We fought anyway. Brass released fire across the bridge. My soldiers could not cross without losing pages. Jet saw the water below. The mole felt that the bridge supports were hollow. 20 soldiers climbed beneath the bridge. They did not attack Brass. They struck the support pins with their spear ends. Jace felt the stone shift and recalled his hound before the center section dropped into the canal. He landed safely on the bank. I held the tower side. He held the exit side. The dual stone gave neither of us a surrender point, but we both advanced. Jace stared at the broken bridge, then laughed. I paid 12 gold coins to protect Brass's legs. The bridge did not buy protection. His laugh carried through the observation crystal. The spectators cheered both of us. By the quarterfinal, my academy rank had risen from 88 to 19. The club received 30 gold coins in stage rewards. Power, money, and status had moved again, but Hector's decree still waited for sunrise. The quarterfinal opponent used 6 Stormhawks linked by a legal group contract. They attacked the album instead of my soldiers. Jet warned us. 60 soldiers formed a roof of shields above Lena, who held the book at the edge of the arena as my registered binder. Lightning struck them. 12 pages went white. The remaining soldiers learned the timing. On the second strike, they opened a gap. Lightning passed through and hit the wet sand. Ash leaped from the gap, guided by Jet, and pulled one hawk down. Ink soldiers covered its wings. The other hawks dove to help and entered range of the beetle swarm. 24 beetles crawled across their feathers and blocked their sight. All 6 hawks landed safely, wrapped in paper soldiers. Their summoner surrendered. The crowd counted our losses aloud. 12 blank pages. 228 remained. The semi-final opponent brought a stone giant. Its combat strength was 90. 1 foot crushed 8 soldiers. 1 hand broke a tower. I sent no one toward its body. Jet mapped the joints. The mole felt each step. 100 soldiers attacked the ground in front of its left foot. Another 100 pushed loose sand into the cut. The giant stepped, sank to its knee, and reached down. Ash struck the rear joint. The Black Company braced 200 spears against the falling arm. The giant's own weight drove the points into a gap beneath its wrist. Its hand locked. The soldiers climbed the arm, crossed the shoulders, and covered the control rune on its forehead with a sheet of black bodies. The giant stopped. 10,000 spectators stood at once. The semifinal ended without the stone giant touching me. My rank rose to 7th. The independent charter activated. Hector's burn decree cracked down the center. I had already achieved what he demanded. Then the Academy champion entered the final. His gold lion was A rank, with a combat strength of 140. Sunlight ran through its mane. It had won the tournament 2 years in a row. The champion raised one hand, and the audience chanted his title. He looked at my book. "You have no reservoir left," he said. I counted every soldier. He was correct. The prepared mana ink was empty. 196 soldiers had survived and returned to their pages, but I could not release them again with my remaining personal mana. I had 23 mana left. Ash cost 12. Jet cost 9. The mole cost 6. I could choose 2 only if one was Jet. I summoned Ash and Jet. The crowd murmured. 2 creatures against the gold lion looked less like a final and more like a delivery order. The lion charged. Ash avoided the first claw because Jet saw it. He could not avoid the light wave that followed. It struck his side and tore a line through his page. Lena repaired it at the arena edge. The tissue cost 10 silver coins and gave us 1 more minute. Jet flew into the sunlight above the lion. His black body made one small moving shadow across the sand. Ash watched the shadow. He no longer needed Jet's full image. 1 mark was enough. He ran beneath the lion's next light wave, attacked the rear leg, and found armor instead of flesh. The champion had studied every recording. The lion kicked Ash across the arena. His page split halfway to the spine. Lena caught the 2 sides before they separated. Blood ran from her fingers where the sharp paper cut them. She used steel thread directly through the drawing. Ash rose with a bright seam across his body. The champion ordered the final attack. The lion opened its mouth. A sphere of sunlight grew between its teeth. Jet folded his wings and dropped, not at the lion, at the arena reservoir beneath its front paws. Every tournament field stored waste mana under the sand. The Black Company had learned where the channels ran during the earlier rounds. Jet struck the release catch. Unused mana burst upward. It entered the open book at Lena's feet. The spine glowed. 196 scarred soldiers stepped from a single volume behind the gold lion. The crowd made a sound like the sky breaking. The lion fired its sphere. Ash moved. The attack missed him and struck the Black Company. 40 pages went white. The others kept walking. They did not attack the lion's armor. They climbed it. Shields covered its eyes. Hooks closed its mouth. Spears locked between the plates on all 4 legs. Ash struck the one rear seam that the champion had reinforced. The metal held. Then 156 soldiers pulled in the same direction. The lion fell onto its side. Ash placed one ink paw on its throat. The champion stared at the army. He stared at the crowd. Then he recalled the lion and bowed. "I surrender." The tournament crystal declared me champion. 12,000 spectators shouted. 5 public boards carried the result across the city. My academy rank rose from 7th to 1st. The tournament purse transferred 300 gold coins to our club. The independent charter became permanent. Hector entered the arena holding his cracked decree. The crowd went quiet. He could have appealed to capital law. He could have called the reservoir release illegal. Instead, he looked at the blank pages, the repaired pages, and the soldiers helping their defeated opponents stand. Then he tore his own burn order in half. "The artistic club has passed," he said. He bowed to Ash, Jet, and Lena before the entire academy. For a man who had arrived to burn them, that bow was a deeper public defeat than falling into any paint trough. The spectators applauded him for admitting it. Hector raised his head. "The capital will not accept this result easily." "Then they can buy a ticket," I said. The arena gates opened. A tall man in a silver coat entered with 20 Imperial guards. His name was Marcus. The black seal on his collar belonged to the Ministry of Sacred Contracts. He looked at me, then at the album. "The Emperor of Drawings has returned," he said. Every line in the arena turned black. Stone seats flattened into strokes of ink. Towers folded like painted paper. The academy walls became transparent, revealing another set of walls far beneath them. 12,000 people saw Arden Academy for what it was. One enormous drawing placed over something that was trying to wake. Midnight began the 5th day. The arena became thin. Beneath my boots, dark halls, giant brushes, and black chains appeared through the painted academy. Something pale moved under those chains. 12,000 spectators stopped cheering. Marcus used the silence. "Seal every gate," he ordered. "No one leaves." Guards raised silver barriers over the exits. Panic hit the stands. Hector stepped in front of Marcus. "Open the gates. If one person crosses the outer line while the overlay is unstable, the entire academy may tear." Marcus raised his seal. The boards showed Arden as a flat painting. 900 years ago, the first Emperor of Drawings built a prison beneath this hill, he said. He trapped a creature that consumed mana, souls, and physical form. It became known as the Pale Eraser. When the original prison began to fail, he drew an academy over it. Every wall, tower, and road became part of a second seal. He pointed at me. "The overlay recognized its successor. It will tear away in 4 hours. Everyone inside will fall into the first studio, and the Pale Eraser will rise." The central board began a countdown. 4 hours. More than 14,000 spectators, students, workers, and instructors stood on a drawing peeling away from reality. Marcus sounded prepared, not afraid. That was worse. "What does the ministry normally do?" I asked. "There has never been another successor." "That was not my question," Hector answered for him. "They complete the central figure." The board showed a faded man carrying the academy. His hands, feet, and face were blank. "You must enter the first studio and finish that figure with your own blood. The overlay will accept you as its living anchor. The school will become solid for another 900 years. "And Noah?" Lena asked. "The anchor becomes part of the painting," Marcus said. "Alive?" "For as long as the seal remains. The ministry would save 14,000 people by turning me into paint for 9 centuries. Marcus wanted to protect the capital, but he would sacrifice the boy without an important family name. It was the entrance exam again, only the paper was larger. I looked through the transparent floor at the unfinished figure. "No," I said. Marcus lifted one hand. Imperial guards aimed their contract spears at me. "This is not a request." "Then it is a poor plan. Replacing a failed anchor only delays the same problem. We need survival, not perfection. We need both." Marcus almost smiled. "You have been a summoner for 3 days. 4. That correction does not help your argument." I opened the damaged album. Jet watched the hidden halls. The mole felt the studio below. Ash studied the man carrying the academy. The first emperor needed something alive to carry the seal. He had chosen a human. Humans had weak backs. "I can draw a better carrier," I said. Lena followed my eyes to the mural. "A creature with a shell." "A very large shell," Milo sighed. "Please do not say we need more paper." The tournament banner was 40 steps long, 20 high, and made from fireproof royal canvas worth 90 gold coins. 100 emergency crystals supplied 600 mana for 120 gold coins. Brushes and armor ink cost 10 more. The total was 220. We held 308 gold coins. I authorized the purchase through our independent charter. Marcus blocked the transfer. "Even if you create this beast, moving the overlay will expose the lower prison." The shell will copy both layers. You cannot know every line. I do not. Jet and 100 soldiers searched every corridor, tower, drain, and foundation tunnel while the mole mapped vibrations. Their memories flowed through the spine. The album began to hold a complete picture of Arden. They will know, I said. Students raised their purses. Emergency pledges covered the purchase twice, forcing the store to honor our charter. The enormous banner came down. Milo looked at my smiling face painted across the banner. First a billboard killed you, he said. Now you will draw on your own giant face. Life values symmetry. We turned the banner over. 3 hours and 46 minutes remained. Lena stretched the canvas. Milo mixed ink in cooking pots. Jace and Hector organized evacuation routes while students brought Jet's reports. I began drawing Atlas. The first line curved across half the arena into a shell. I added the body of a mountain turtle. Its outer shell copied the academy walls. Its inner shell copied the prison chains. Windows became scales and arches became bones. If one line was wrong, a section of the academy could remain behind when Atlas emerged. Jet, the soldiers, and the mole sent dimensions through the album. I transferred every line with my own hand. My fingers split after the first hour. Lena wrapped my fingers and returned the brush. You still have 160 scales, she said. You count in a comforting way. Milo has food. Milo brought roast chicken, buttered rice, hot flatbread, and ginger honey sauce. Lena fed me while my ink-covered hands kept drawing. Milo pointed at one unfinished rear leg. Make that thicker. It carries the kitchen. The library is above it. Books can fall. Soup cannot. The students laughed, breaking the panic. 2 hours remained. The pale eraser struck the lower chains. The eastern dormitory flattened beneath 200 students. Ash and 30 soldiers formed a shield path and guided all of them to the arena. No one was lost. Ash returned with silver paws. His strength rose from 24 to 31, and the soldiers learned to cross a paper world. I drew faster. 1 hour and 12 minutes remained. The eraser pushed through the central floor. Its touch removed ink, stone, and mana as if they had never existed. Marcus drew his silver sword. The alternative has failed. Take Noah to the mural. His guards advanced. Hector blocked them. The boy has a valid charter and a rescue plan. Move, Hector. I obeyed you 22 years ago. 40 students died. I will not repeat it. Jace, the champion, instructors, and students joined him. Marcus faced the institution he claimed to protect. If the eraser escapes, the capital loses 300,000 people, he said. I will not gamble those lives on a student drawing a turtle. His fear was reasonable. His choice was not. He summoned an imperial griffin. The S-rank beast had a strength of 280. It attacked the canvas. Every board showed the gold lion, and brass failed to stop its silver claws. Hector's black bull held for 3 breaths. 38 minutes remained. Atlas still lacked a head, 1 front foot, and the final line closing his shell. I could not stop drawing. Lena opened the album. Protect the page, she said. Ash, Jet, the mole, the beetles, and 156 soldiers emerged. Students placed crystals against the spine. 1 powered 5 soldiers for 1 minute. 32 supplied the first wave. The Black Company attacked an S-rank griffin. The griffin scattered 20 soldiers with 1 wing and tore 12 pages with its beak. But every loss taught the pages that remained. The survivors wrapped its feathers. Beetles entered the wing joints. Ash attacked the rear leg while the gold lion struck the other side. Brass turned the ground to glass, and the mole warned every page as the griffin slipped. 100 soldiers pulled on the same wing. The imperial griffin fell. It carried Marcus across the arena and left him hanging from a tournament flag, while paper wrapped his familiar. 5 public boards showed the capital's highest inspector swinging beneath a sign that still read, "Welcome honored guests." Jace laughed first. 14,000 people followed. Marcus cut himself down. You have 20 minutes, he said. After that, I use the original plan. Then stop talking, Lena replied. He is drawing. I completed Atlas with Ash's eyes, Jet's direction, the mole's patience, and the lost boar's shoulders. 240 marks honored the soldiers carrying its memory. 10 minutes remained. The pale eraser broke 1 chain. White emptiness climbed the tower. Classrooms vanished, and half the ranking board went blank. I drew the final front claw. 5 minutes remained. The canvas had reached 94% structural accuracy. Atlas carried a projected strength of 500. The summoning required 600 mana. At full power, he could remain real for 10 minutes. We had 100 emergency crystals, exactly 600 mana. Lena placed them along the canvas. Milo connected them with mana ink. Hector ordered every barrier in the academy released, so nothing resisted the movement. Marcus looked at the breaking chain below us. For the first time, he bowed his head. "Complete it," he said. 1 minute remained. I closed the final line beneath Atlas's shell. The world went black. Then the canvas moved. A head larger than the club building rose from the arena. 2 ink eyes opened. Legs pushed down through the painted foundations and found the real earth beneath the first studio. The shell expanded around every tower, wall, road, and prison chain. Atlas stood. Arden Academy rose on his back. 14,000 people screamed as the entire school climbed out of its own drawing. The transparent floors became stone. The flat dormitory regained its depth. Towers settled between the scales of a living mountain turtle. Below us, the first studio opened like a dark wound. The pale eraser reached upward. Atlas closed his shell. The copied chains tightened around the creature. The inner pattern separated from the ruined mural and became part of Atlas's living body. The eraser struck once, twice, and a third time. Each impact consumed 1 minute of the turtle's life. 10 minutes became 7. Atlas began to walk. Each step carried the academy farther from the exposed studio. The first step crossed the western hill. The second crossed the river. The third placed the school on a broad plain outside the city. The eraser hit the shell again. 6 minutes became 3. Ash appeared on Atlas's head. Jet circled one eye. Every remaining soldier stood along the shell lines and poured its learned memory into the living structure. They had survived fire, stone, poison, lightning, and a world becoming flat. Atlas received every lesson. The shell changed. Burned scales grew darker. Weak joints widened. The chains crossed into a new pattern based on the soldier's shield wall. The blank page of the dead boar flashed inside the album, and Atlas lowered his broad shoulders as if holding up a fallen roof. The eraser struck again. The remaining duration did not fall. Atlas had learned how to carry the weight. He reached the plain with 1 minute left. Hector activated the academy foundations. Stone anchors entered the earth. Lena cut the mana threads in the correct order. I recalled Atlas. The giant turtle became a storm of black ink. Most of it returned to the vast canvas. The academy remained solid on the plain. The copied inner prison remained beneath it, separated from the first studio and closed around the pale eraser. The old site behind us collapsed into an empty stone basin. No student had died. No instructor had died. All 14,600 people inside the academy survived. For 10 full seconds, no one spoke. Then the ranking board returned. My name appeared at the top. The title beside it changed from paper artist to living illustrator, then from living illustrator to emperor of drawings. The class names changed. The rule did not. Anything I completely drew with my own hands could become alive. I had simply drawn something large enough to carry a school. The cheering began near the arena and spread across every courtyard. Students beat shields against the ground. Instructors raised their staffs. Paper wolves flew from windows. Someone found the blue figure of Jace and placed it on Marcus's shoulder. Marcus removed it very slowly. The public boards replayed 3 images across the Capitol, Gavin standing in green shoes, Hector tearing his own decree, Marcus hanging beneath the welcome sign. The ladder of powerful men had become an art exhibition. Marcus faced the Academy Council before the same witnesses. He admitted that the ministry had concealed the first studio and treated every future successor as a disposable anchor. His authority was suspended while the Capitol investigated the contract monopoly and the old SEAL program. He did not apologize to me. He did something more useful. He transferred the ministry's emergency reward of 1,000 gold coins to the artistic club and signed the Academy's independence order. Our balance had fallen from 308 gold coins to 88 during the rescue. The reward raised it to 1,088. The council granted us the Western Workshop, the repaired club building, and a permanent share of dungeon illustration contracts. By winter, the club earned 300 gold coins each week from maps, trained paper scouts, and safe pest removal. One cheap sheet still cost 1 copper coin. A trained ink scout drawn on it could recover a core worth 40 copper coins in one trip. The economy remained beautiful. Hector became the first instructor to register living illustrations as legal familiars. Jace kept second place in the academy and challenged Ash every month. Brass never again exposed a rear joint. Milo turned the Western workshop kitchen into the most popular dining room on campus. His honey chicken became so famous that students waited longer for lunch than they once waited to mock me. Lena designed an album with a spine of silver thread and atlas leather made from the harmless outer ink of the giant page. It could hold 500 drawings. She refused every offer from the capital and placed her workbench beside mine. We framed the blank page of the boar above the new stove. The first feast in our rebuilt club lasted until midnight. Milo cooked beef slowly with onions, carrots, black pepper, and red wine. The meat fell apart under a spoon. Fresh bread came from the Academy bakery, still hot enough to melt butter. Ash received 2 sausages. Jet stole 3. The mole pushed crumbs out of its page and built a small hill on the table. I sat on the repaired roof after dinner. The roof no longer leaked. I almost missed the old sofa's sense of timing. Lena climbed up and sat beside me. The academy lights spread across Atlas Plain below us. Students carried paper lanterns through the streets. Every lantern bore a crooked wolf. "Your first drawing was terrible," she said. "It had character. Its legs looked like spoons. Experienced spoons." She leaned against my shoulder. "What will you draw next?" I looked at the enormous atlas page stretched across a protected frame in the new club hall. Fresh details continued appearing on the shell. Tiny towers, stronger legs, a scar where the pale eraser had struck. Every creature in the silver album now carried a memory of the entire academy. When Jet learned a new route, Ash knew it. When Ash learned a new attack, the soldiers adjusted their shields. When the mole felt a hidden room, Atlas gained another scale. My worst class had become an army, a business, and a home. "Something smaller," I said. "Perhaps a cat." "Can you draw cats?" "Probably." "That answer is dangerous." I was about to tell her that danger depended on the number of legs when Ash rose from the album beside us. He did not look at the academy. He looked at the moon. A thin black line had appeared across its silver surface. It was not a cloud. It was fresh ink. Far above us, something on the other side of the sky began to draw back.